Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to be doing a creator request today, which is where a smaller band gets in contact with me and asks me to check out some of their music. Today we have one from Athenesi. They emailed me, "Hi, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. We're a metal band from Italy and we released our first music video on June 18th. We would like to have a video reaction review." So let's get into that. The track they asked me to check out is called Beyond My Cell. Let's see what Athenesi is bringing to the table. Is that a 5-string bass I saw?
That's why turn the sun. A cosmic power from the universe. It gets harder, get rid of this cage. It's like a liquid into my veins. Lies, the face of the mankind.
Interesting division on the vocals there. Instead of center channel, pushed them out to the side, but it felt like it was actually recorded twice. Just lots of energy. I mean, it's just very intense. All those downstrokes, man. What is it with a lot of metal, older metal, and like newer metalcore? It's all downstrokes, man. And I know it's more aggressive, but yeah. So the drummer switched to 3 grouping accents, which was a really nice way to end that. Very clean solo for the speed. It's interesting, sort of the bounciness of it because of those 2 and 4 accents coming off of the guitars. The drums are all downbeat accents, but the guitar's offbeat. Interesting. Okay. That final lick right there, it sounds like the first 2 or 3 hits to a very iconic Metallica riff with that same reverb on it. And I wonder if it is a little bit of an homage, a tip of the hat to a Metallica track. I can't think of what the riff is though, and I might be misremembering too. It's been a long time since I've listened to Metallica. Um, oh, that's Nothing Else Matters, isn't it? Yeah, it might just also be just coincidence. It could be unintentional as well. Just sounded cool and they went with it, and it subconsciously was because, somebody's influenced by Metallica on the I don't know. I don't even know if people are influenced by Metallica anymore. Those people probably looked ah mid-20s maybe tops. They looked younger. Do do people even listen to older Metallica anymore? I don't know. Huh, I never thought about it. Now I'm feeling old. Anyways, let's talk about Athenesi. I think this is fairly rooted in metalcore, which is right up my alley. I grew up on music. Well, I say grew up. I listened to a lot of this in my teen years. Especially, it reminds me of very early Bullet for My Valentine. So I was naturally grooving along with it for the entirety of the track. Really great guitar work, really great drumming. The vocals, I'm growing on. There's something about them. I don't know, it's a personal bias though. Athenesi, if you're watching this, the vocalist specifically, I got nothing against your vocal style. It's just not something I've heard. There's a color to it that is just new to my ears, and I've got to get attuned to it. Harsh vocals are not easy on my ears to begin with, so definitely not something on you. That's definitely on me. But everybody's killing it right here. I particularly liked what the drummer did in order to spice things up every once in a while, especially with the drum fills. There's some nice metric stuff going on in there. But the drummer also sits in the pocket phenomenally well, which is necessary because of what our guitars are doing 99% of the time, which is 16th notes. This song does not back down at any moment. It is just full on energy, drive, momentum. Um, and we occasionally even have multiple guitar ideas. When we start off the track, our second guitar and our bass were doing foundational stuff. I think it was like hitting on every beat one or something like that. I think it was these suspended notes where our guitarist was shredding over it. But eventually, the bass and the guitar ended up coming in, and the second guitar actually had its own part at one time. We had some counterpoint there around minute 2.5 or 3. I think it was after the bridge. Um, and it was just really neat hearing both of these ideas, both of these guitars going off on their own ways, but still staying within this faster playing and getting all these multitudes of dyads in there. I'd love to hear more of that, kind of. We'll get to that in a second. The bass was primarily doing foundational things. I wish I could have heard some bass licks that kind of got to do what the guitars were doing, but again, that's my own personal biases seeping in. Metalcore, a lot of it, the bass typically has, I don't want to say easier. They are technically easier, but less involved parts. They're a very foundational role of a lot of bands. So I can't expect too much in that realm. Um, but oh, there was that one part I want to talk about real quick, and then we'll get into the next thing. So the drums, like I said, they sit in the pocket for a lot of this track, and through that they emphasize a lot of downbeats. What was interesting was in one of those latter sections, we had a guitar. I think it was our second guitar because it wasn't shredding. They were doing these offbeat hits, chat 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 chat, and it gave it this like bounciness because we're not emphasizing the downbeats anymore. We're emphasizing the offbeats. Downbeats give us that sluggish aggressiveness. Offbeats give us lightness and like dancey poppy vibes. And it was very cool hearing that clash. If you listen to the drums and our lead guitar, we're chugging forward with metal's intensity. If you listen to the rhythm guitar, we're having a good time. We're dancing. It's bouncy and bright. And I thought that was a really cool a schism to have there. I'm curious to get into the lyrics to see, what that might mean. I mean, it could mean nothing at all. It's just what the guitarist felt sounded right at the time, and they put it in. So, but it's really interesting to hear that it's a separation of intention, so to speak. Is the song rigid or is it loose? Is it heavy-handed or is it weightless? It's both simultaneously. There is a division in what the music is doing. I'm really interested to get into the lyrics and see if there is any dichotomy in the lyrical themes as well. So yeah, I really wanted to touch on that. Now here's the biggest part of the track for me. I mentioned that it is constant 16th notes. There is always movement going on, whether we have an instrument writing out a pedal tone, which we see a lot of. A lot of the licks are based off of like 2 beats of pedal tone and then 2 beats of lick, and then 2 beats of pedal tone and then 2 beats of lick. Um, and it creates something that is very groovy, very tasty, very metal, right? It's rule of cool. It's not necessarily going for atmosphere or what the chords mean emotionally. It's just, does this sound cool? Yes, let's play it. And metal is great for that. But what ends up happening to me as somebody who enjoys metal in some capacity, but is not a metal head. I would not, I mean, maybe I'm getting there. I would not self describe as a metalhead, though. Is this is a lot of a lot. And again, Athenesi, this is on me, not on you. But I was definitely fatigued about the 2.5 minute mark. There's a point in this track where I'm like, this is a lot of attacks being thrown at me at one time, and it's constant. And I kind of got to the point where I wished something would change. Maybe we could cut to. In fact, when we cut to the we'll get to that in a second. But when we got to the end, and we started to do that outro lick, that Jed was like, "Oh, this is nice. A little bit of a moment to breathe from everything else." And again, maybe that is intentional as well. We'll find things in the lyrics about not having a moment to catch up with things, or feeling rushed, or overwhelmed. Like, these might be ideas that show up in the lyrics, in which case, perfect, love it. But I definitely was getting fatigued just due to the overwhelming number of attacks. And like I said, eventually we even had both guitars doing their own lines, which I said I wanted more of, kind of. And what I mean by that is that it was neat to hear the diversity there and the division between our two guitars, which again, we have a separation of ideas. Second time this come up musically. But there was not enough room in the production for it, and they tended to sort of overlap and just become a lot of noise to my ears. There wasn't enough clarity in the production for both of these to exist simultaneously with everything else that was going on around it. And instead of being interesting counterpoint, it got just kind of muddied sound. And I don't know how much of that is just that it is a lot of a lot going on, and how much of it could be fixed in production, or even just guitar tones. Have wildly different guitar tones on each of them. Have one emphasize mids and one highs, or something like that. Pitch would also help to separate them. They were both playing in the same range. So there's a lot of things that help them blend together that could be approached differently on a future track that would help separate two guitars that are playing at the same time. But it just became something very overwhelming. So I like the idea. And if the execution intentionally was to overwhelm, again, nailed it. But it did, the execution was just wanting a little bit. However, I really like the idea of the dyads going on there. I thought they were very neat. So yeah. And that pretty much wraps up everything I have to say about this. Everything is executed fantastically. There's a lot of skill on display here. I can't say that anybody faltered at all. Everybody was on point. It sounds great. It's got that driving energy all throughout. I think if you guys keep this up, you got a bright future ahead of you. But for me personally, there's a couple of things that kept me from enjoying it, and that's just because I don't think I'm your target audience, which is fine. I'm going to hit some lyrics real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. There's a light inside that's brighter than the sun, a cosmic power from the universe. It gets harder to get rid of the cage. It's like a liquid in my veins. Lies, the face of the mankind. Why? Just take me home beyond my cell. Alright, just take me home beyond my cell. I look for all the impossible. I'll get free of all want prevents me. Tears on the ground will never dissolve. I'm feeling something, it's waiting for me. I think I've entered into the chorus. So then this would be the verse, I think. There's a light inside that's brighter than the sun, a cosmic power from the universe. It gets harder to get rid of this cage. It's like a liquid in my veins. So there's a brightness within that wants to get out, but it can't because this person is caged or trapped metaphorically. Our chorus, I think, is lies, the face of the mankind. Why? Just take me home beyond my cell. I look for the impossible. I'll get free of all wants prevents me. Tears on the ground will never dissolve. I'm feeling something. It's waiting for me. Hear the voices. Sail away. So it definitely feels like there's more out there for him, but that he's trapped within this environment. We repeat that entire thing all over again. However, after just take me home beyond my cell, we have a change. I'll look for the impossible. I'll get free of all wants prevents me. Oh wait, no, tears on the ground. Yeah, so that's the same thing. All right. Oh, our verse is the same. So that's it. There's a light that's brighter than the sun within, and it gets harder to get rid of the cage. I just want to go home beyond this cell. And I'm feeling something that waits for me. I'll hear the voices and sail away. So there is a division in here between the wants of our character and the reality of our character, but otherwise I don't really see any of the themes I found in the music popping up in the lyrics, which is fine. It's pretty typical for metal. To have music that fits the genre and then lyrics that are created completely divorced from the musical process. All right. So those are my thoughts on Athenesi's Athenesi. I think I've said it both ways now throughout this video. Athenesi's Beyond My Cell. This is where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this track. Anything that stood out to you. Anything you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on. Above that, you'll find a description box. In there, you'll find a bunch of links for Athenesi, any of their streaming platforms and social medias that I could find. I'm going to drop in there. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Also, head over to their page and like, subscribe, and ring their bell, which I should probably stop saying that because it just sounds... Anyways, I'm going to ring your bell. I think of that every time I say it. It sounds so aggressive. Go over there and ring their bell. We have one more creator request today. Otherwise, I'll be back Sunday for the live stream for patrons, and on Monday we'll begin next week's theme. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.